All right. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of G.T.E. Pro Network Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Peterson. Today's day, ladies and gentlemen, is April the 24th, 2025. I tell you, this month has zipped on by past what I thought was going on. But as we continue on our growth series, because I'm doing my growth series every month throughout the rest of this year to assist churches, nonprofit organizations, and startup companies, entrepreneurs as a whole. No matter what walk of life you're from or where you come from, it doesn't matter. But we're all helping each other to build and grow our networks in the area where we do business, utilizing our websites as a marketing tool. That's my theme for this year because I got a lot of inquiries about their websites. I've been reviewing a lot of people's websites, and a lot of them are way outdated. So I have to educate them on constantly bringing up content and all of the good things that they need. But we have a special guest on my show, my favorite person, one of my favorite people, Mrs. Tiffany Obing of Sugar Cookie Books. She's also a lawyer, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me, she's a lawyer too. Believe me. Now, she practiced law, but she also is an author of a children's book that I am super excited for. I'm looking at her background right now because I'm kind of jealous because I want a background like that. So anyway, my sister here has been really been impactful. I interviewed her a year ago in April, when I first met her through Dr. Little, who I also had on my show last week, Dr. Little, for graduates gifts. And so all of the graduates that's coming up in the month of May, Dr. Little has a program set for you guys to not only get out and learn about business, but how you can be financially free as well in the space of investing. So it's a lot of things that she's put together. I'll have her back on the show to talk about that because they have an event coming up on May the 3rd, 2025 as well. And I had Dr. Williams from Lupus of Nevada, out of North Las Vegas, Nevada, to talk about her book. She's an author too, Loving God While Living with Lupus. And then she also has a children's book. I mean, everybody's coming out with these. What I'm loving, the children's Pfizer, Dr. Little has one out as well, and with Gaia, her niece, and she put a book together for her on Gaia's journey. And so it's a lot of different things that I'm seeing my authors, and you notice they all women. What do you mean that? Brothers, come on, let's go. So we need to step it up. Because they're tearing it up, and I'm really excited. So the reason why I had Miss Tiffany come back on, because she was such an impactful education. I learned a lot from her just looking at her books and the things that she's doing. If you want to check out her website, go to sugarcookiebooks.com, and you can see everything my sister has done. She has a vodcast. I'm going to say that word again. A podcast that I was shocked about because I was like, wait a minute. Did she not tell me about that the last time? No, she did not. So I'm researching. I'm good at research. I love it. As me having a background in technology and electronics, and so I have a degree in that, and being a part of this industry, ladies and gentlemen, has really been a blessing because I'm able to not only help people who are coming in the manufacturing industry, and we can get into that topic. I'm going to do that too in a special series of all of the Black manufacturers in our country. And where did it all begin? Who started it? And all of these things. So we can get rid of all the myth and the lies and all the different things that just ain't true. And we want to make sure our kids are educated on this level as well. So what Miss Tiffany is going to tell me about on that level is that book that she has about the scientists. I'm still really concerned looking at that. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Miss Tiffany, how are you doing? And welcome to the show.
Hi, I am doing well. And it's just, I was wondering who was on my website because I got to alert. So now I know it's you.
It was me.
I was like, oh, what they doing?
Yeah, I'm doing my research.
And yes, I didn't know I was making up the term vodcast. I thought that was something people say, but It's a video podcast. I made up that term. And
no, you said it right. That's a new terminology that I just learned about. Because I'm like, wait a minute, she said, did she not say vodcast? Okay, cool. I like it.
But yeah, so I need to update it though. I haven't done a show and an episode in a
Now, I will say about that topic that you were talking about, Real Men Read. I have been sharing this, believe it or not. I don't know, our wavelengths are just kind of connecting together because everywhere I go, when I meet new clients to build websites for them or do marketing campaigns for them. I always give them suggestions of books to read. Mm-hmm. And one of the books in my favorite right now, because of the times we're living in right now in this country, and one of my favorite books by, and I got to bring that out. Hold on, let me get it out, because I was talking about this today, and friends of mine was asking me, Ed, what are you talking about? Well, there's a book by Francis P. Martin called Hung by the Tongue. Mm. Now, every entrepreneur, and I'm going to say this with honesty and truthfulness here, every entrepreneur that starts a business, you want to be transparent, honest, and to the point. Your words can be impactful to them if it's done in a real way, without us really having to beat around the bush and all that other stuff. Just get to the point. What is the purpose? What is the plan? And what is the goal? And so, Hung by the Tongue, I give this to a lot of my business people to read, because it was given to me to read. Mm-hmm. And when I read this book, I read this book about 5 or 6 times already. And most millionaires, if you look at it today, they read their books consistently, and they have beautiful libraries. Yeah. I love that. When we talk about the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill Foundation, an average millionaire have read that book at least 5 times. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking about books, and real men do read, because I read, I'm a bookworm myself. I have several books that I consistently keep on hand, even in my car. I keep books in my car. That's how I am. I just love books. But as it is now, we can use our phones right now to get to books and read online in that way. So it's a lot of different ways that we can do that. But that book, Hung by the Tongue, is all about a study of words of your mouth. It's called Presenting in Serious Simplicity. The truth of what you say is what you get. So you can speak life. You can also speak death. But both cannot be under the same tongue. It's going to be one or the other. You want to speak life. Right. And what Mrs. Tiffany Obing has put together with Sugar Cookie Books has brought life to a lot of the young people. I love her website, by the way, and I was going over it. Now, I do a lot of, as I said earlier, I do a lot of website reviews. And as I review websites, it has to be content driven, which hers is. And it also has to show an image or tell a story, which it does. If your website is not telling a story of who you are, what you represent, then you're not there. So you need to update that to the level where you're telling a story about your journey and why you got into the business you're in today. And so with that, Mrs. Tiffany, I want to share this. What books now? What do you got going on project-wise? This is the month of April. This is Financial Literacy Month, as well as Educational Literacy Month for our young people, because they're getting ready to graduate. I'm working with high school students. I'm going to be doing workshops with the young entrepreneurs. I'm going to have them on my show to talk about their businesses from ages, believe it or not, from ages 7 to 19. We have a lot of young entrepreneurs who started their own businesses. And this is a beautiful thing, because we want to keep that drive throughout this year on to the next. And so our journeys, when we go through our leaps and bounds to kind of keep up with everything that's going on in the marketplace, which is pretty vast right now. But we want to stay relevant, and we want to keep our blinders on, focus on what we're doing, not getting distracted, but trying to keep up. So what have you done lately, Mrs. Obing? That really has done well with Sugar Cookie Books. I want to give you an accolade. I told you before, I say again, I'm waiting for that Pulitzer Prize. I'm waiting for all of the different things that you're going to do, because you are really an advocate for children's learning. And getting that really out there in the marketplace, where people now can go to your website, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, sugarcookiebooks.com. Get a book for your child. Please believe. They're going to have some fun. They're going to be on a journey. They're going to ask you a lot of questions. Believe me, they will. So, and that's one of the things that I love about her, is that she makes it so you can think about what it is you want to do. So go ahead and finish telling us a story about that.
So just to bring you guys up to speed from the last time, I'm on like my 25th book, and the last books I put out. Yeah.
Wow.
So expanding literacy. I put out Andrew Learns About Chefs as one of my latest books, and it was the 6th book in the Andrew Learns About Career Book series. And then I also put out my first beginner chapter book under Sugar Cookie Books, which is The 3 Pigs versus the Wolf. So as it said, I'm an attorney, and in my mind, I said, what would happen if the 3 pigs took the wolf to court? How would that end? And so it's a really good story, I must say.
Right. That's cool. I like that. The pigs don't take the wolf to court. Okay, go ahead.
It's good, and it's not how you expect, and that's what I loved about it, because I just remember going through school with the idea of becoming an attorney. At the time, I thought I was going to be a criminal defense attorney, and I just always liked the underdog story. I'm not saying I wanted to represent like murderers or anything, but I just like the underdog story of like, did they really do it? Here's your rights. Let's protect people's rights and let's give them due process. I guess that's what it is. And so one of my favorite characters in the book, and my son is like, is the coyote, who's the attorney for the wolf. Yeah, and, you know, he's a zealous advocate.
Nothing wrong with the coyote.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my last couple of projects. And then I took a break for the holidays. And then, you know, this year just started, and we're doing all this. Everything is happening right now in the political climate, in the real climate. And so just trying to.
That's why I was going to ask you that question, not to cut you off, but just to say, with this climate that we're in today, and everybody's been asking me, Ed, what are you doing to talk about it? Well, first and foremost, I talk about the businesses today. How are we're the voices, we're the ones that's making the impact in the marketplace, not the government, but the people. And because the way we are built in this country and the way the country was set up, it was all about the people. And so our resources in our communities that we have and what God has given me on this journey was to educate and help churches, nonprofit organizations, and local businesses in the communities where they are, where all of them work together and share their resources where nobody lacks anything within that community. This is the vision that we should be upon in every city and state across this country. There should not be any reliance totally on the government as far as that is concerned, because we're all the ones creating these things, not them. And so it's always been up to the people. All of the things that we've done through our marches, through our advocacy programs, through our nonprofits, through our churches, have all been done through the people in the communities where they serve. And so this is why I support a lot of the local nonprofits today versus the big ones, because they're not boots on the ground. Only the ones boots on the ground is the ones I'm going to support, because they're the ones actually actively working in the community. And it's going to take all of us to do what we need to do to educate and give our kids the lifestyle and basically the life that they deserve. It shouldn't be no one left out, no matter what walk of life you're from.
Right.
Because everybody's human. Unless you're a robot, I don't know. But everybody else is human. So in the human race, we want to kind of continue to build upon these things that we do day by day. So yeah, in the political climate, everybody's asking me, well, what kind of website? Well, if you're here to do business, and I see a lot of people being laid off, I've got more web orders this week alone than I've ever had. Matter of fact, this whole month alone.
Yeah.
But because of the fact of the climate that's going on, people, all this uncertainty, one thing is certain. If it's going to be, it's up to me.
Yeah.
You have to be reliable on you. It's you incorporated, you in business. It's up to you to do what you need to do for you. I'm sorry.
No, I get it. So just trying to navigate that. And so I say, what do? You turn back to what you know, which is writing children's books. So I did establish my second website, which is TiffanyOBean.com.
I saw that.
My name, TiffanyOBean.com. And because I wanted to be able to have that brand as Tiffany O'Bean, as well as a place and repository for all of my 25 plus books.
Well, you are a brand within yourself. Now, this is important. What you just said is very important. I wanted to stick a pin right there,
okay.
Tiffany O'Bean, because a lot of my clients and a lot of people do not understand that branding your name is important as well, because it's you incorporated, as I just shared. And if it's you incorporated, that means you're the brand, you're the muscle, you're the thought machine, and you're the manufacturer of what you create. And as a manufacturer, and I'm giving this insight to a lot of my clients today, is that you created this. Then this should be under your name, no one else's. Now that becomes intellectual property, believe it or not, when it comes to that. And in the legal stance of it, that is your intellectual property. TiffanyOBing.com. And so when people get to ask me questions, well, what should I come as a name? Are you the manufacturer of this product or service? Then you should do that. I would recommend that because that is how everybody does it. Look at the NBA stars. Look at all the people in the NFL, all the sports entertainment. They have things under their name. Same thing with actors and so many others in the industry. But it's up to you to figure out what you feel is going to be consistent upon what you want to present to the marketplace for others to follow and know who you are.
That's right. So I had to establish my separate site and myself as a brand because I went under Sugar Cookie Books, which is now a trademark, by the way. So it's a registered trademark.
Congratulations. Right.
Thank you. So I had come out as Sugar Cookie Books and always operated just as like, I'm a book person, like buy the books. But as you mentioned, I do want to team up with organizations and nonprofits and schools and things to supply a range of what I call curated selection of books to help with their literacy efforts, especially when it comes to underrepresented groups. And so I wanted to be sure that they could find that. So if they've never heard of Sugar Cookie Books, but they ran into me and they're like, oh, I remember Tiffany O'Bing, they can find me and then we can have that conversation. And I also wanted to have a spot where I could highlight organizations who are interested in impacting the literacy rates. So that's what my podcast is called.
Yeah, I love that. No, that's very cool. I love that. And you know what? When I was reading over everything on your website, I mean, I just went and just started going through the links. And hyperlinking is really, ladies and gentlemen, one of the key factors that I teach and train on my podcast. But not only that, I teach and train entrepreneurs on what the purpose of hyperlinking is all about. Instead of me trying to go through every page of the website, which people ain't going to do today, you want to hyperlink the key points where you want them to go. So you're navigating them to the pages, to the sections that you want them to read and talk about. Especially on e-commerce sites, if you have something that you want them to purchase, you can do that as well. So again, when we share information with the links, notice I'm going to show you this. When I want people to go pick up tickets, because I put it on my event page, because I have an event page now, and I have a podcast page for my podcast, right? Where you can watch my videos here on YouTube. So here's the thing: if you just send them the link to the section you want them to go to market and advertise that, then that's a good thing. Now we use QR codes today, so your QR code could be like I'm gonna do for events. It's going to be globaltouchenterprise.net/events. That's the link. And when it's going to be on the QR code, that link, when they scan on their phone, it's going to take them straight to that events page where they can get their tickets for free and all of that. Since the workshops are going to be free. Thank God for my sponsors. I love my sponsors. So I want to thank Randall's Grocery Store here. Oh, Randall's is really good for that. And then I got my clients, H-Tech, Professional Services. He does commercial cleaning. And then Dr. Williams from Lupus in Nevada. And we got a lot of, the NAACP, Linda Coleman from NAACP Missouri City Branch. Love that. So we have a lot of people that support what I'm doing because they believe in what I'm representing to help others in the marketplace. And it's all about the PHP effect, people helping people. That's the role, that's the goal, and that's the mission that we all need to be on a consistent basis. But anyway, Mrs. Obi, getting back to that, branding your name was good. That's a good insight. I saw the website, by the way. I got a chance to look at it. And the vodcast I looked at too. And I See Me, that's something different that I haven't heard about. And can you tell us a little bit about I See Me?
So they're an organization, a literacy organization, nonprofit, and what they do, and that's the whole point of the podcast, to bring to light, highlight these organizations that we may not know of. People can't help if they don't know about it, right? So I See Me is an organization, I See Me Inc. is an organization that focuses on bridging the literacy gaps, especially among Black children and especially among Black boys. So I think that's where you saw Real Men Read, like they have a partnership program where they pair Black men with the Black boys so they can show Black boys like reading is cool. Also, barbershop books. That was another organization I highlighted because they're very into impacting or influencing, improving the literacy rates amongst Black boys. And as y'all might see, a lot of my covers have a Black boy on them. And at first it wasn't intentional. It was just because it was inspired by my son. And so Andrew's the name of my son. Andrew's the character likeness. But then as I continued on this journey, I learned that Black boys don't have children's books that reflect them.
No, they didn't.
So I do make it a mission to include the Black boys on the cover so they can see themselves in kid literature, so they can possibly be intrigued, and so we can get our kids reading, because literacy in all forms is very necessary, and reading literacy is the foundation for any other literacy, including financial literacy, since we're in financial literacy month.
Yes. And that is impactful too, because I believe that we want to start teaching our kids early. And Tiffany, what you think about this? Because I was asking some of the other parents, and me as a parent, I have a son. I wanted to know what your thought would be process when it comes to letting the kids understand what we have to do as adults with money and managing our monies and budgeting ourselves. And you know, my mom used to say, well, if you keep your room clean, then you have clean thoughts. She would always say that. She would always say that to me. So I'm like, okay, clean thoughts. Okay. So I kept the room clean. But, you know, and me believing that, I followed that. And everything was a clean thought. I didn't have any bad thoughts, you know what I'm saying? So, but for me to learn these things about money, I think that's important that we have kind of missed the boat on. For 2025, what do you think the kids on this level have been understanding about that, or the parents that's really trying to help out on that level?
Understanding about what money is, or
what money is, because they always say, Dad, can I get this? Dad, can I get that? Can I go get this? They reach it, but they don't understand this cost.
They don't understand. They don't understand. And by we, I mean like me and my husband, we're actually guilty of this, and we're trying to course correct now because my son is currently 9, and my husband went and took him to open up a bank account so he can see like that process. And so he was really excited about it. He was like, yeah, we got a bank account and I got X amount of money, but he doesn't have any access to it or whatever. Right. We try to tell him like, you have these nice things, and we understand that we give you a lot of nice things, but it costs money. So you have to take care of things. You have to work for things. Like the only thing we tell you to do is do your schoolwork, be good in school, and then the rest is handled. You can get what you want. You always have what you need, and you can get what you want. And so we're really trying to impart that upon him, but it's a lot of hard work. And so with the littlest one, because I have a 4-year-old, I think we're going to have a more intent on being like, you know, you have to work for things. You're like, just to be appreciative. I know my uncle, he told me before, he's like, of course, you know, as an adult or a parent, you want your children to have a better life and more access to things than you had. So he's kind of almost of the sense that you can't really spoil a child or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, he's so spoiled. He doesn't appreciate it. And he's like, well, you always want to give them more and for them to have better lives than you had yourself. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. But at the same time, I'm gonna need him to be able to take care of his things. I'm gonna need him to understand that you just don't turn on YouTube, for example, and you have money flowing in. Like you have to work. You have to work for it. I guess that's what it is. So learning to work for it and to care for it and then to manage it. So I haven't got to manage it.
But you said a mouthful right there, and that's true. And I think the basis of course correcting, like you said, a lot of parents are doing that today, because now they're understanding that, wow, if they don't know now, when will they ever know?
When?
You know, and so getting them the bank account was a good move. And since he's 9, Henry on 9, when he hits the teenage years, he'll be already thinking about, oh, I got money in the bank. I can put money in the bank, you know, and that kind of thing. So when he gets money, you know, at the time when you're talking about giving the kid an allowance, what that means, and if they clean up, just giving them, learning about being responsible for the things that they have, and being appreciative of those things that they have, and being a good steward of it.
Yes.
Gives them the impact that, oh, if I do it this way, like this, I'm going to continue to have. And the answer to that is yes, you can. Yes, you
Yes.
will. Because again, it's all about how we take care of not only ourselves, but the things that we've been blessed with, our blessings, how to keep that going. And we can lose a blessing if we misrepresent that blessing that we have. And
Right.
so a lot of kids are learning now, and most of them, when I talk, and the ones that are entrepreneurs, Tiffany, I'm gonna be honest, girl, you got to get on a chance to see my next podcast on this one because these kids are so sharp today, and they know about money already. Because with
Yeah.
the content creating, I mean, they got
Yeah.
Twitch where you can make money gaming on Twitch. You got TikTok, you can make money. Of course, you can make money here on YouTube channel, and you got Fan Base, which is another Black-owned social media platform by Isaac Hayes III out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna keep representing that brother because he's a good and because I've also invested in that platform. And so when you come to content creator, money's now shifted. Everybody's going into these little arenas now, trying to generate income for themselves. And the work from home positions are still available. They're still there, although the government is trying to get rid of it, but it ain't happening because the companies are the ones that set the tone, not the government. Hello. So the tech companies are still have their people working from home to this day since the pandemic, 2020. And we are now 5 years later, and we're still into that realm. But literacy, since this was Financial Literacy Month, and it is, what have you done different now, Ms. O'Bean, when it comes to educating and getting the young kids that you're in touch with to learn about that?
Well, I think I do it in a backdoor type of way. So because I have the career books, which exposes kids to or introduces kids to different careers, and in doing so, that also plays the part of showing them this is a way you can make money, which also shows them how you can use your skills to make money. So something we were just talking about. So it plants those seeds that if you work and your skills, you can earn money. Right. So while I don't have books or talk specifically about how to manage, save, or invest your money. Again, the foundation of any type of literacy is your reading literacy. And so you can't even really get to how to invest your money, save your money, manage your money if you don't have the basic foundation of reading literacy. You can't learn what you can't read. That's so establishing that foundation, I believe, and I'm sure a lot of other people believe, opens the door to understanding many concepts. And then having those career books show you this is the way this person makes money. This is the earning potential. If you even want to go beyond the book and say, okay, well, how much does this lawyer, how much do lawyers make on average or whatever? Right. How do you read job descriptions? How do you read instructions on an app? And so it's a backdoor way, but I think it really does, or I know it really does support Financial Literacy Month and financial literacy activities, but that's my approach to it.
And I think we should be doing this, Tiffany, at least every month of every day. We should be sharing this information out. I think Andrew should have a book called Andrew Goes to the Bank. So that'll be a good step right there in the right direction since he's learning. I know he's probably going to have a lot of questions for you guys, you and your husband, in reference to his banking. And then he probably want to check the balance of it every time you see it.
Exactly.
Right. So these things like that is really curiosity. I love the fact that kids are more curious. And we know when we were coming up, we were always curious, but these kids today are more curious now than ever. I mean, the stuff that they ask is like, oh, okay. I didn't think I was going to be prepared to answer that kind of question, but okay. But here we are. But again, it just gives us an insight to really look at as a clear view picture, what to expect, and then what we can prepare them for that's going to benefit them down the road. And it's all about the benefits for the young people to understand exactly what they need to do and how they need to do it on a regular basis. So now, what's the name of the new book? What book you got now coming out there?
So I'm currently working. So the last book I put out was Andrew Learns About Chefs, and then The Three Pigs versus the Wolf.
I love that.
But the book I'm currently working on is Andrew Learns About Architects. And that's really exciting because like, I feel like we don't talk. Well, I know we don't talk enough about architects.
No.
I only know one real architect, and that's why I decided to write about it. It's my cousin. She is a female, so that's even wild. right? Exactly.
Okay, a female architect. That's cool.
Yes. And so learning about architecture and the nuances of that field and how
Yeah.
it differs from engineering.
Oh my God, it's a total
But
different animal, and
it's a different
because
animal, but related but different.
yeah, it is, and it's
Yeah.
relevant today. I'm looking at how this city has grown,
Yep.
the different structures that's being built today,
Yes.
and
And
even
why though?
and
Because
why.
that's the thing that I learned, that they're solving problems. Like they build things a certain way so it can look pretty, also so it can last, but they're solving a problem about the user experience. So,
Right.
like you said, we're having more and more people come into Houston, and you're probably seeing more and more apartment complexes go up. And it's like, why do they keep building all these apartment complexes? Because it goes up, don't take as much space, and you can house more people.
Right.
So it's like cool.
And that's just the convenience of it, because
Yeah.
home building is still being done.
Mhm.
And I'm actually going to have, for the month of June, I'm going to have the builders to talk about that. We got Perry Homes, we got David Weekley, KB Homes, we got all these builders here in Houston. And I wanted to get their insights as to the growth. But as I was looking out in Katy, Texas, because that's where I'll be heading to, I guess I'll be out there. Katy, Texas, they're revamping all of that. 99, I mean, all of that is brand new. And they got a lot of land. That's the reason why people are flocking, because Houston got more land than what they can do with around here. And because of all this land, and if you go to Missouri City, if you're going into Pearland, Pasadena, all these areas, they're all revamping building, especially out in Pasadena. I mean, I was out there and I'm like, man, this is getting ridiculous. But again, the growth is sick. Everybody's coming, everybody's flocking there. Beltway 8 is always being updated.
Yes.
Figure. Since we got two big loops, an inner and an outer loop, 610 and Beltway 8. So it's interesting how the city has mass grown. So architecture is one of the key factors that I would love to get young people on. Just like electronics, I want, because I said I wanted to have centers, technological centers for young people to go to in our neighborhoods, in our communities across the country, because of the fact that we have this digital divide on most levels. And again, we were talking about literacy. Kids are reading at a certain level, getting them to rise up that vocabulary, understanding comprehension and social studies and all of these things that we grew up learning. They don't really teach much today. It's interesting. Now with the educational system being dismantled today, and now they're leaving it up to the states to do everything, which the states has always been doing everything. So I don't see what the whole darn difference was for that factor. And then it's up to the parents anyway to teach and reach our kids. So you don't want the Black history done in these schools. Well, don't worry about that. We have our own Black history. We have our own our own schools, colleges, and so forth. So we can teach our own kids from the privacy of our own home. And we can also build our own libraries. There's a lot of good opportunities where I see friends of mine back in Chicago, where I'm from up north, they were talking about that. Yeah, we should build a library for our own history. And it's a lot of history in Chicago. Although a Black man named Chicago, John Baptiste DeSable, who named Chicago, was from Haiti. But a lot of people didn't understand that when he did that and founded Chicago in the 1800s. So history, it ain't going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So I don't know what the purpose of all that is, but other than to just
exactly, because it's provocative.
It's just crazy.
And that's what I'm like. Okay, so the space I work in is equal opportunity, so it deals a lot with diversity, equity, and inclusion. So when they attacked DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, I'm like, I mean, it's very upsetting. It's very, very upsetting.
Yeah.
It's even more important why kids' career books, such as mine, is that much more important, because we need, because where I see the gap is we don't have the talent pool anyway. So many kids, especially our Black kids, are falling out of the talent pool because they're going from school and dropping out because they don't know how to read. They're not engaged in reading. There's the school to prison pipeline. And as they all say, prison population is made up of illiterate people. And so it's like, if we can keep them in school and get them encouraged or inspired to become something, so go to college, then they can graduate and go into these talent pools. The talent pool will be diverse in itself. So you don't have to create a talent pool because it will already be diverse, because we'll have those people graduating and entering those talent pools. And so that's what my focus is. I've kind of criticized pipeline programs for starting too late. They start like in high school, but our kids have already fallen out of the pipeline by then. They might start in middle school, but there's not many there. So I'm like, we need to start in elementary. We need to get them early, because I'm afraid if you're not reading, you're falling out. You're falling out of the pipeline to get to a talent pool so you can become whatever you want to be in the future. And so that's just my little soapbox.
No, that's good. That's great. And I'm 100% in agreement with you on that. And I believe that that's something that we have to step up and do on a regular basis when it comes to that on the literacy side. But not only that, career goals, the different type of jobs that's available for when they graduate, and here we are, we got the high school students getting ready to head to college. What are your curriculums? What are you learning? AI has been taking over. Everybody's trying to learn that. Automation is another thing. The technologies have changed and shifted. And so coming from technology myself and from manufacturing myself, I learned that a lot of these kids will be way, way behind when it comes to understanding how tech works. And behind the creation of tech, who created it? How do you understand the electronics algebra or math that you have to learn?
Yeah.
Whether it's Ohm's law, Kirchhoff's law, Newton's law, the Boolean algebra, which you have to learn. That's technology, electronics, math. So when I ask these kids, they're like, well, no, we don't learn that in school. We're not taught that. And so it gives me something to say, well, the basic arithmetic is just one thing. But we have to get them prepared for, and that's why we had back then those technology schools. And when they was coming out back then, they was thinking about careers, and companies would help fund those schools.
Yeah.
Because they was bringing in their expertise people to come and talk about it. But here today, we gotta really step it up, Tiffany, because it's so much on the side that we're so far behind in that it just saddens me that we are not, and the parents should be also engaging too. I understand we have to work, we have to do all these things to make money, to do the things we need to do to maintain what we have. But at the end of the day, we have to schedule a time where we can go out and get these kids updated and educated on what's relevant today.
Correct. That's correct. And like we've always been, and it's me and my husband, we've always read to our children since infancy. And so my son still looks forward to our reading at night before he goes to bed. I talked to another parent who's really about reading, engaging with their child through reading. And her son is like 11. And I was like, wait, he still reads with you at night? She was like, yeah, girl. So I'm like, okay, this is something we could possibly still continue to do. But my son, he loves going to the library. My daughter loves going to the library. We just have books around. I buy books. I put them in the Easter basket and they read them and, go on. They still like electronics, of course, but reading was nothing that was, and because I guess they're good at it. And it was something that was routine and they're good at it. So it's not anything for them to just pick it up and want to read. Like the 4-year-old is reading as well, or has the ability to read. She just don't like to read in front of me. She reads in front of my mom, but not me.
Well, she picks a person who she want to read with.
Okay. Right. I'm like, I want to hear you read. So I have to like speak and record her when she's reading to my mom. But anyway, but yeah, it's just really important. I can't say it enough that we focus on financial literacy. That's very important. And in our community, we don't talk about finances at all. We don't talk about
we don't.
That. And while me and my husband are not going to sit down with Andrew and say, this is how much money we have and this is how we budget, not at this point, we can still take actions to talk about money and not make money seem scary. Again, we want him to understand the value. So we have at times said, hey, you got $20 to spend in Target. What you gonna get? And he'll be like, he be thinking hard. But if we say, hey, we're going in Target to buy you something, he pull everything off the shelves. We like, so you do understand the concept of money. You do understand.
He does. He said, well, my mom and dad got me, so let me go get what
I
want. Right. And you know what? That's right. And that's true. And another thing too, Tiffany, that when you look at how kids are really advanced today, everybody is giving us an opportunity to really see how much can we stretch a dollar. You know, remember those word problems we used to come up with in the school? They used to give us the word problems. If Joe had 50 apples and he gave 5 apples to his brother, how many apples did he have left?
Yeah.
You know, those kind of things. So problem solving, as we go back to that, I'm glad you shared this. Problem solving is the key for everything we do. Yes. And financial literacy to our reading and skills and to our comprehension skills and our understanding of each other is going to be the key factor here. And so when we get a chance to educate our young people, we have to understand they have an advantage now, more than what we had back then. I was sharing this with my son the other day. Man, when I was in college, if we had the things that y'all had today, I wouldn't fail a class ever. I wouldn't. Because the technology is just given at your disposal, and you can research things. Because we had those botanical books, you know, and those encyclopedias, those big books, and we used to go through that to research stuff.
Correct.
Now these kids can whip it up on their phone. Oh, I got this, and we got Wikipedia.
And they don't even have to know exactly what they're looking for, because they can just put it in. I'm looking for something that says something, but we had to know what we were looking for so we can even pick up the right Britannica encyclopedia.
Exactly. So, and I asked all my authors, and I said the vocabulary skills is what level grade do we write at for our viewers to read at? And are we really paying attention to that? And I was asking one of these professors in the college the other day, and he was talking about that. And I said, well, should authors be writing what level? He said, well, it's going to be at their comprehension level based on their education and based on the words they want to utilize to get the point across. Well, with young people, if Andrew wrote his own essay at 9, what level do you think that essay would be at?
Probably his grade level or below.
Exactly.
Important about what I'm about to say. I'm about to disagree with the professor because, and maybe we were saying the same thing, but yes, we speak. Me and you were communicating at a level that's not 3rd grade, that's not 4th grade, it's not 2nd grade. Yeah. But you want to, if you're writing a children's book, especially, you have to know who your target readers are. So for mine, it's like 5 to 8, and you have to understand what their reading and comprehension level is like on average. Like you're going to have high reading people, you're gonna have lower, but on average, what is a 3rd grader? Like what engages them? How long is their sentence? What type of words are they reading? What's the syllabication? Like you have to have some type of understanding of that, or else they're not gonna want to read your book. So and that's what's I hear from other people who enjoy them, is that I'm able to take these complex topics and talk about these complex or these careers, something so serious, in a way that kids can understand and they can engage with the text. So you have to find a way to communicate with them on their level without babying it and without oversimplifying it, but not sounding like we're college professors or like we're
Right. Well, that's good. And all the books that you've written, all 25 of them, I'm really commending you. I'm telling you, Tiffany, I really enjoyed from a year ago when I first had you on the show. We were talking about, you was at 20 books, I think it was.
Probably.
Yeah, you was at 20 books at the time. And so you was already saying by the fall of that year, in 2024, you was going to bring out some more. Your mom kept pushing you to do it.
Yes.
And you had to go and say, well, Mom, I just gave you 20 babies here. And here you are. Look, you got 20 kids now. And so the kids are getting it. I'm really excited for you and for what you put together. Your website looks immaculate. It's great. And like I said, I've been doing website reviews for a lot of my clients across the country. And I want to share this. Guys, if you really want to really learn and help your child learn, please believe you need to go to sugarcookiebooks.com. Get your child a book. Now, she has a list there. And I remember we were talking about one of my favorite ones. I thought when I saw it in the background, because I'm looking at your background now, you need to flip the script on me a little bit. But you still got a few Andrew books back there. And I was looking at the other one. when he was talking about technology. He was talking about electronics. Andrew was learning.
We have actors, teachers, lawyers, engineers, scientists, and chefs. Right. I know you mentioned scientists earlier.
Right. Yeah, that's the one. And I believe that because I'm a big science nerd, so I'm a nerd when it comes to I'm a geek, I'm a nerd, I'm all of those things, and I'm just always reading up on it, learning about it. And then also for NASA, the people that I found here in Houston, the NASA scientists, research scientists, which was Dr. Walter Pendleton and his wife, Alice Pendleton, out of Waller County, which is out of, they went to Prairie View A&M, Prairie View. So they've graduated from that school, and he's a historian, buff on a lot of levels. But I'm building their website now for his new chapel seminary school.
Yeah.
So everybody get the history of it, and I love the fact that you're putting together something that makes it fun for the kids, easy to read, and then giving them a little history about these subject matters.
And about the pioneers of the field. So I do include in all of my books a nod to the pioneers, and most likely they're going to be the Black pioneers of the field. Yeah. And so with architects, I'm doing the same thing. But yeah, so in every book, you're going to see nods to Black pioneers or pioneers in the field, because again, it's about inspiring. And if you see it, you can be it. And that's just a trademark. But yeah, if you go to the website, the books are categorized.
Yes, I saw that. You did a great. Now that was really hard. I know, because I was telling my friends. I said, guys, I've been showing your website for a few friends of mine that same field, and they're like, "Oh, this is nice." I said, "Yeah, don't get it twisted. It takes a lot of work to do this work, and I know it took you a minute."
Yes.
So I'm glad you have it categorized, and now that you have all of your books in a unique system now. And what is your next step now? We're getting ready for graduation. I know everybody's getting ready for the month of May. What do you have coming up, and what do you got going on right now that's going to be insightful for people to learn?
So I kind of cut off. So can you say?
Okay, sorry, sure. Yeah, I was going to say for the next month, we got graduation month. Of course, everybody's doing that. But what do you have now that's coming out that's going to be something impactful for people to learn?
Right now, it's just more of, what I'm trying to say. It's more of just encouraging people. Again, the political climate. So sometimes I don't even want to do this, but I'm like, I got to do this because it shows other people that we're not gonna stop. You know, they say they don't want our stories. They say ban this, ban that, but I'm gonna keep pushing. I will say that while I was writing Andrew Learns About Architects, I was like, is it too Black focused, Black lean? And I was like, what? Girl, bump that. Like, write this the way you want to write it, the way that people have come to expect it, and do it. So that's my thing, just trying to be an inspiration, hopefully, or an example to other women and other people who are doing this. People that say, I don't even know, like they lost their job, perhaps. It's like, okay, how do I move on? So just trying to show them.
Well, that's one of the things, Tiffany, that I'm really encouraging people. We have so much. God has blessed us with so much gifts and talents within us. If we pull out those treasures that's in us and put it out there in the marketplace, we will be able to live the lifestyle that we want to live and live how we need to live, because we're helping more people get also exposed to what's in them. And I love the fact that when I hear young people talk about business or what they want to become when they get older, they keep it real though. And they say, well, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a police officer. And I'm asking them, well, what was the cause? Why would you want to do that? And when they answer you, they already have the answer. And they already know exactly in their minds, based on what they've been exposed to, that this is what it seems like that I can do. And yes, they want to stifle our efforts, but it's too late. You can't do that now. This is 2025. We're not going back, and we're not being stifled. We're not going to shut up, and we're not going to quit. So you might as well get off your horse with that and get on with the program, because this bullet train is moving.
Right.
The bullet train has already left the station. So why are you still trying to go there? This Project 2025. Well, we have our own Project 2025, and we have our own understanding of what we ought to do with each other while we're here. And for everybody who is, again, now that you're national, you're nationwide now, Tiffany, and you're also global. And so with Sugar Cookie Books, I want you to continue doing what you're doing because I love it. I love it. I love it. You have been such an amazing person to do this with and to share this on my podcast that everybody's been asking me, who is this lady? Oh, yeah, she's an author and a lawyer. And she's passionate about educating our young people and giving them the full facts of what's really happening today. And I'm glad that you really took the time to come on my show today to talk about that. I told you we were going to have you back on, and I did keep that promise. So, and I love the fact, and I sent you my flyer that I created for us.
It's nice.
Thank you. And I wanted to kind of give you some more opportunities to showcase all the other things. So I know you've been doing speaking engagements, I think. I've seen you out there doing that. Tell us a little bit about that before we close.
Oh my gosh, I've been trying to remember. I had like the anniversary party last year, August 2024, because I wanted to bring like all the people who support me up to speed on what was going on. And so I was creating that presentation. I was like, I did that. So let me think. Recent things I did. Spoken at Rice University. I am an SCWBWI, so Society of Children Book Writer and Illustrator. I'm a volunteer with them now, so I'm the self-pub coordinator. So I lead office hours in that organization for the Houston chapter. I also have a speaking engagement with them coming up a couple of months to talk about writing children's books, of course. I had my own class where, I was working with an organization that hosts class for Black women writers. And so I taught how to write a children's book. What else I've done? I don't know. It's so much. And I want people to know that, like, once you get into this field, like if you want to be a writer and you're like, I don't know when to start, go ahead and start. And so many opportunities will open up that you won't even expect. So that's all I can think about right now. But I know there was plenty, and I'm sure once we ended, I'm like, oh yeah, and then I did that. But
no, it's good. But again, we can see that because you've been posting. Go ahead.
I was just talking to my high school. Okay. So that might have been something. So I went back to my high school alma mater to talk about being an entrepreneur and lawyer.
What's the high school? What high school?
My high school, Willow Ridge.
Okay. Okay, go ahead with your main stuff. I heard about Willow Ridge.
Yes, Mighty Eagles.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So that's good. So you're giving back. You're becoming a trailblazer in this space, and I love the fact that you have put together this work ethic that you have put together doing this. Now, I'm not going to even get into how you're doing the other thing you're doing, but that's another thing. But another topic to talk about later. But I'm really excited for what the kids are now have in place. We need more people like you, though. And I say this, if we can find more people on this path, as I shared with Dr. Little, in reference to that, with what she's doing with graduate gifts. And I told her she was an author. She's like, I'm not no author. Yeah, you are. Now she understands that she's an author. And with her book that she put out there for graduate gifts, and educating them and getting them ready for the career path of entrepreneurship and so forth, you're giving these young people the career path of learning about not only themselves and what's possible for them to get into, but all the different career choices that they can make. And there is no limit to that. And we want to not put a cap on any of this right here, but we want them to know that they can go as high as they want, as far as they want, and as deep as they want.
And that's and I say this because I was rubbed the wrong way when I was on a webinar, and this librarian, it was a Black female, a librarian was talking about, the books they look for, the books that are hot right now. And so someone had shouted me out. They were like, oh my gosh, Tiffany, she has her career books, and, she talks about engineers and things. She's like, oh yeah, that's cool and all, but we need books. We need the books about the trash man. I'm like, what? And so her point was, everybody's not going to go to college. And I do realize that. And I do realize that trades people are very important and they make the wheel go. But I also realize that our Black children are already told what they cannot do and what their limits, and we need to break that stereotype that you're only destined to become a tradesman. Again, tradespeople, they're entrepreneurs, they make a lot of money or have the ability to. I'm not saying they can't do that. But we need to tell them also of their other opportunities that's available to them. And when she said that, I was just thinking about 47 and his comment about Black jobs, like every job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'm glad you shared that, because I hate when people rub me the wrong way too, like that. And they're like, well, if you start a business, you need to start the business. Okay. But we're not in the 18th century here. This is not the 19th century here. This is times out. And as I share with people, technology changed every 90 days. And now it's getting to be every 30 days because technologies keep shifting. And I say, when the last time you seen a VCR? When the last time you seen a cassette player?
Right.
Okay. What about an 8-track tape? I'm going back. You don't see that no more. Right. So why are you still dwelling on the past of things, of technology that's outdated today? And here's another thing. Shaquille O'Neal is a billionaire now. Mm-hmm. He emulated his ideas from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan created the hype man. That's his Nike logo that he has with the hype man. Shaquille O'Neal got his hype man, whereas Michael Jordan partnered with Nike. Shaquille O'Neal partnered with Walmart to give the low-income kids an opportunity to get shoes. Both have their versions of quality that they wanted to present in the marketplace, but Michael Jordan shoes is for everybody. They're pretty expensive now. Most kids can't afford to get those kind of shoes. Whereas Shaquille O'Neal decided, let me give it to the low-income kids, because I had a hard time coming up getting shoes for myself.
Right.
But it's based on the person. What you want to bring and present to the marketplace is up to you. There are other people out there to do what you're talking about, but it ain't me. It ain't me.
Right.
So you can go ahead on with that and keep that in under your umbrella, because over here, I mean, just keep it real. Are you if you have the money to afford to get a Mercedes Benz, would you go buy a Chevy?
Right.
You would get the Mercedes Benz.
Right.
There's something for everybody.
Right.
But it's just a group of people who's willing to go down that path. But my journey is not that journey. And my walk ain't that walk. This is why I want you to remember that, Tiffany, because when people come to you like that, I always get to the point like, now, and then I throw it right back at them. Hey, I ain't the one.
I just like how I got you so hyped.
No, because you did. Because I mean, I feel you on that, because I've been hit the same way. And I'm like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I can't do this website because of what? You can't have a website because of what? Well, we've been doing it this way. We don't need a website because we feel that everything's been going good. But you're missing out on opportunities of more people to reach online. How many people are walking in your brick and mortar location? What happens when we had another pandemic come up? How would you deal with it then?
Right.
Online proved that in 2020.
Yeah.
So why are you trying to go back to that old traditional? That's gone.
Right.
And all these industries that everybody's trying to reactivate and regenerate, it ain't working. And everybody's not going to follow it. So keep doing what you're doing. I'm sorry you got me on the soapbox right there, but I had to stop there. But you know what? Because I hate when people rub me the wrong way about the certain things that I'm talking about.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, that's crazy. Just, I mean, yeah, who want to be a garbage man?
And I mean, maybe they do, but you see that. Like, that's accessible as far as like exposing. They're exposed to garbage man. They're exposed to basketball players. They're exposed. If you would have threw out the CEO or the one who created 1-800-GOT-JUNK, I would have told that woman. Well, what about the man that came up with that concept of 1-800-GOT-JUNK for homeowners that had a whole lot of stuff that the garbage man couldn't do? He created his own business, and then he hired enough people to drive his trucks around the city. You call that number, I can get you to remove my trash. Right.
Well, let's go back to Uber. When the last time you've been on a taxi cab ride?
Right.
Hello. I got Uber and Lyft now. Yes. I can go there. Anyway, I'm just sorry. I just have to throw it out there because everybody don't start with me. And when I hear people that I like, that I'm in tune with, that go through the same situation, I'm gonna definitely give you some tips on how to deal with the next go around. Don't even get it twisted. Let them know. Well, what about this?
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I run across her again, I'm gonna be like, I know what Ed told me to say.
Right, exactly. Because at the end of the day, you're going back in time that we don't even want to repeat. No. It's done. It's over. Get over it, people. Get with the program. Because you don't want to be left behind when it comes
and you can't be the same one saying, oh, well, why don't you teach them about being a garbage man and then also cry on the other side of your neck about DEI being wiped out. You're not contributing. You're not even trying to help with the advancement of diversity, equity, inclusion.
And majority of the people that got into that, believe it or not, were white folks.
Exactly.
They benefited more than we did. We didn't get that.
They did. We at least got like the opportunity. That was it.
Let's go on up. Oh, well, we got a little speck right here, black people in there, but that's about all we're gonna do. What?
Exactly.
Come on. That's why entrepreneurship, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for tuning in for this edition of G.T.E Professional Network Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Ed Peterson, and my lovely guest, Mrs. Tiffany Obeng. From Sugar Cookie Books. We want her to come back again on the show because, again, we're going to talk more further into that throughout the year 2025. And as far as Literacy Month, and we're going to be teaching our young people. We got workshops coming up. I have a workshop coming up on May the 17th, 2025, for our next online business workshop, how to build and grow your network utilizing your website as a marketing tool. And we're going to have some more special guests on as well. I got some young entrepreneurs that's going to be for the month of May as we get ready for our graduation month, May, for young people and what they're wanting to get into. Because I noticed that people don't want to work for people anymore. I wonder why that is. That's a thought right there for you. But anyway, you want to kind of get into the point where we are all growing, we're learning, and we helping each other learn and grow at the same time. So with that, Miss Tiffany, last statement that I say, how can people get in contact with you or follow you right now?
Yes, it is quite simple. So we have the tiffanyobeng.com, but otherwise Sugar Cookie Books across everything. So sugarcookiebooks.com, at Sugar Cookie Books on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Very consistent.
Yeah, perfect. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for this edition of G.T.E Professional Network Podcast. Again, keep following the faith, keep building the dream, and keep focused on your dream. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. It's you. And y'all have a great afternoon. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.